Derby County. They have Peter Shilton in goals. Mel Sage at 2, Steve Cross 3, number 4 Geraint Williams, 5 Mark Wright, 6 Michael Forsyth, 7 Gary Micklewhite, 8 Dean Saunders, 9 Michael Harford, 10 Ian Wilson, 11 Ted McMinn, and the substitutes are Trevor Hebbard and Mark Patterson. Referee Philip Don of Hanwell Middlesex gets the game underway. I'll give you the Liverpool side as soon as we have a break. Bad pass there, straight to John Barnes, back here by Beardsley, but Micklewhite's there for Derby County. Ablett, Burrows, Williams in hard on Burrows. It comes to Beardsley, Barnes, and tackled out of it by Gary Micklewhite. So a throw into Liverpool. John Barnes to Peter Beardsley, through the legs of Michael Forsyth, who recovers well. Wilson in on Mulby, and it's Williams for Derby County to Saunders. So a good tackle by Hussain, and Mark Wright back to Peter Shilton. Liverpool, they have Mike Hooper in goals, Glenn Hussain 2, David Burrows 3. And it's Hussain there clearing to Mel Sage. Hussain again, looking for Ian Rush, but Mark Wright is there. Back to Peter Shilton. Number 4, Steve Nichol, 5, Jan Mulby, 6, Gary Ablett, 7, Peter Beardsley, 8, Ray Houghton, 9, Ian Rush, 10, John Barnes, 11, Gary Gillespie. The substitutes, David Speedy and Steve Staunton. It's John Barnes now for Liverpool, kicking from right to left, looking for Ian Rush. Mark Wright there for Derby County, picked up by Nichol, Beardsley, Nichol. And that's Mel Sage getting ahead of Ray Houghton to knock the ball back to Peter Shilton. Liverpool could go back to the top of the table if they win today, and Arsenal failed to win at Norwich. The leaders Arsenal went a point ahead of Liverpool with a home draw against Nottingham Forest in midweek. Philip Don satisfied that the ball is okay, so Mel Sage can get on with a throw-in. Gary Micklewhite, who scored at Crystal Palace last week, Sellers Park. Mark Wright back to Peter Shilton. Shilton's kick, looking for Mick Harford with Ablett. He flicks on to Saunders. Micklewhite trying to engineer a shot, and he's brought down by David Burrows. Almost on the edge of the 18-yard box. So an early chance for Derby to put some pressure on Mike Hooper's goal. Mike Hooper in today in place of the injured Bruce Grobbelaar. Derby have 3 players there. Geraint Williams is 4, Dean Saunders 8, and Ian Wilson 10. And it's Saunders off the wall, and Williams chases out to the left for Derby. Ablett follows him. Williams crosses over for Mick Harford, but it's Burrows who knocks it back to John Barnes. Peter Beardsley. Mel Sage tackles quickly on Peter Beardsley. Mick Harford now, faced by Beardsley, but gets a crossover. But Hussain to Beardsley. Sage picks up for Derby. Ian Wilson back to Mark Wright. Forsyth coming out to the right as Mark Wright puts the ball forward. Hussain beats Harford, but picked up by Wilson. Screwed to start by Derby. Micklewhite across to Harford. Back for Wilson, but it doesn't get there. Mulby clears to Ian Rush. Gillespie hacks the ball downfield, and to the derision of the Derby fans, Derby pick it up easily through Mark Wright. Ted McMinn looking for Mick Harford. Hussain there knocks it across to David Burrows, and it's Gary Ablett. Here's Mike Hooper, a touch of the ball. Mike Hooper's kick deep into the Derby half. The side clears to Williams. Mel Sage now for Derby. Looking for Mick Harford again. Ablett beats him in the air, but it's Micklewhite who picks up. Micklewhite attacking the Liverpool defence, trying to put the ball through for Mick Harford, but not failed to do so. Good tackle by Forsyth on Beardsley. Williams to Harford. Williams again, trying to find McMinn on the left. Wilson does so. McMinn with a cross. Mick Harford there. And it's Micklewhite Trying to get the crossover, but they win the corner. The corner coming in the 5th minute. 5 minutes gone. Still Derby County 0, Liverpool 0, but a spirited start by Derby. And the fans responding to it. Gary Micklewhite to take the corner kick. McMinn can only knock it out for a goal kick. Trying to flick it back, but Micklewhite didn't really lift it enough. Mike Cooper with a quick goal kick to Jan Mulvey in oceans of space in the middle of his own half. John Barnes. Mulvey again trying to blast it inside Micklewhite. Across to Forsyth. And Ian Rush harrying Forsyth. And he gets the ball safely back to Peter Shilton. Harford back to Micklewhite. It only finds Ablett. Beardsley tackled by Forsyth. Tackle from behind. Free kick to Liverpool. Quick free kick by Beardsley to Burrows. Back to Beardsley and now to Mulvey. Rush, good running by Houghton in space. But he shoots well wide of goal. Houghton had done the hard part, getting himself space. Good running off the ball by Ray Houghton, who, like Dean Saunders, former, and Mark Wright, of course, former Oxford United players. A lovely sweet move there by Liverpool, which Houghton really should have provided a better finish to. Peter Shilton with the goal kick. Houghton. Rush outpaces Wright, and it's Rush. A penalty. A penalty. Mark Wright pulling back. Ian Rush, an obvious penalty. And Liverpool have a chance to take a 7th minute lead. There's no question about it. Rush had outpaced Mark Wright and was pulled back. So it's Jan Mulvey to put Liverpool ahead from the penalty spot, unless Peter Shilton can make a brilliant save. And it's right in the corner. A beautifully taken penalty. And so Derby County really on the rack after 7 minutes. The shame of it is that Derby County have made such a spirited start. And the last thing they want to do is to give penalties or free kicks away in dangerous positions, which will aid Liverpool's cause. Gillespie, Mulvey, and that's back to Mike Cooper. Mel Sage for Derby County to Geraint Williams. Mark Wright. Mick Harford inside for Saunders. Faced by Ablett. Back to Harford, but he can't control it. Now it's Saunders. Wilson spreads the ball out beautifully for Mel Sage. Burrows coming over to cover. Sage was going to cross it. Checks inside to Williams. Now Ian Wilson. Wilson across to Steve Cross. Got Ted McMinn outside him. Back to Steve Cross. Inside to Saunders. Ball out for Steve Cross again. But inside only for Steve Nicol to clear. That's Peter Beardsley inside to Steve Nicol. Mark Wright will pick that one up for Derby County. Steve Cross out to Ted McMinn. McMinn. It's a free kick or a throw. Free kick. Foul by Peter Beardsley. Ted McMinn to take it. Mark Wright going up there to try and atone for his mistake, which led to the penalty. Mick Harford. Saunders trying to get on the end of it. Saunders wriggling his way through. And that was Ian Wilson. But Mike Cooper, with some good goalkeeping there under pressure, gathered the ball cleanly off Ian Wilson's toe. Michael Versyth. And he finds John Barnes with that clearance, but it's Sage clearing. Hussain now for Liverpool. Beardsley back to him. But Hussain's pass aimed for John Barnes. A wild one. So Derby County will set up another attack. 10 minutes gone. Derby County 0, Liverpool 1. That's Ablett. Cross to Steve Nicol. Gillespie, wearing number 11 but playing right back. Inside to Nicol. Mike Hooper. Mark Wright. Williams, Sage, Barnes picks up. That was Houghton, but it's only to Dean Saunders for Derby County. Steve Cross out to Ted McMinn. Still with that strapping on his left knee. Steve Cross slips and Gillespie clears to Nicol. But Forsyth for Derby County. Harford in with Ablett, who gets some meat on the ball. Right to Harford. Ian Wilson now for Derby County. Pumps the ball forward for Dean Saunders. He's got 10 but in support. Tries to get the ball across, but only wins the throw. Glenn Hussain it was, doing the marshalling job on Dean Saunders. McMinn to Cross. Back to McMinn. McMinn with a centre. And Ablett out to Beardsley. Williams for Derby. Hussain. Wilson. I have a feeling that Micklewhite was offside in that move. And Liverpool not taking the kick from the correct position, but Molby finds Barnes. Accelerates past Sage and Wilson. And beats Cross with a pass out to Steve Nicol. And there's Barnes. Beating right. No penalty this time. Peter Shilton for Derby County. Steve Nicol. In rush beaten by Mark Wright, but it's David Burrows. To Peter Beardsley. Back to Gary Ablett. Ablett to Rush. A tackle from behind. And Mark Wright in danger of a booking here. But not on this occasion. Just a lecture from referee Don, and it'll be Jan Molby with the free kick for Liverpool. Ted McMinn and on Nicol, but Nicol got the touch, but safely through for Peter Shilton for Derby County. Harford up with Nicol, and Harford penalised there for going in with his elbow into the chest of Steve Nicol. Nicol all right. So it'll be Gary Gillespie now to take this free kick for Liverpool. Gillespie looking for Nicol, but Steve Cross gets ahead to it, into touch. Thrown to Liverpool. Nicol to take it. Into Beardsley. This is Houghton, blocked by Wright. Forsyth clearing. Michael Harford for Derby County, looking for the options. Back to Steve Cross. Short ball to Ted McMinn. Faced by Steve Nicol. Into Ian Wilson. Geraint Williams under pressure, but does well against Molby. Spreads it to Mel Sage. He's got Micklewhite in support inside him. Looks for Dean Saunders. And Saunders getting the ball across, but the ball out in fact for the goal kick. The linesman very much on the job there, but good attack by Derby. The linesman Mr. E.J. Walsh with the yellow trim. The linesman on the far side is Mr. D. Shadwell. Mike Cooper to take the goal kick. Barnes beating Sage. Lovely back heel by Beardsley. Barnes with Forsyth. And Barnes still there. Corner kick. Such a difficult player to dispossess when he's in full flight, John Barnes. Ray Houghton. Out by Geraint Williams. Not too far though. Burrows heads it back in. Mark Wright for Derby County. And that was Ian Rush with a good effort on the turn just over the Derby bar. Just over a quarter of an hour gone. Derby County 0, Liverpool 1. That 7th minute penalty by Jan Mulby after the infringement by Mark Wright on Ian Rush. Mick Harford flicks on to Saunders, back to Micklewhite. Saunders again. Spaced by Ablett and Hussain. Saunders tries the shot, but it's blocked by Ablett, and Mike Hooper has little difficulty with that effort. Hooper's kick, looking for Beardsley, who meets it in front of Sage. Forsyth for Derby County, but Saunders and Harper can only look at each other. Gillespie now for Liverpool, looking for Rush, but it's Steve Cross with the interception at the expense of a throw. Gillespie to take it, right on the halfway line. Into Beardsley, faced by Forsyth. It's back with Houghton now. Spreads it out for John Barnes, who's earned himself some space on the left here. Attacking Mel Sage, getting the crossover to the far post, but it's out for the goal kick. Peter Shilton. It's Gillespie. Forsyth in on his own man Williams there. It's Saunders and Harper combining. Pass now to Geraint Williams. Saunders offside. Ablett to Mulby. Hussain. Gillespie. Hussain again, accelerating forward, flick inside for Beardsley. Precise clearance blocked, and it's Mark Wright to Ted McMinn. Ted McMinn outside Gillespie. And that's Beardsley who brings him down. Free kick to Derby County on the halfway line. In fact, just inside the Liverpool half. About a yard inside, just where Steve Cross is standing. Ted McMinn had certainly played the ball forward before Beardsley got the tackle in on him. Mark Wright going into the edge of the penalty area. Forsyth back on the halfway line with Ian Rush. Steve Cross with the free kick. Hussain. And it's now Nicol with the clearance, and Beardsley and Rush onto it. Beardsley inside him, but the ball hits Michael Forsyth. And another incisive move by Liverpool fails for the lack of inches there. And it's Mel Sage now for Derby County to Ian Wilson. Geraint Williams. Downfield for Saunders, but it's Gillespie. Ablett rather, who clears it. Houghton for Barnes. And now Harford beats Mulby. And it's Ian Wilson taking it up. And a good ball there for McMinn. Hooper on McMinn, a penalty. Certainly Ted made sure he was in the penalty area when the tackle came in. So Dean Saunders having to wait while his teammate recovers. Dean Saunders, of course, who scored a hat-trick in the last match here, including a penalty against Sunderland when Derby came back from 3-0 down to draw 3-3. So Dean Saunders now. Can he equalise in the 20 minutes? It's there. Dean Saunders in the 21st minute equalises from the spot. That has revived the Derby crowd somewhat. Mick Harford to Micklewhite. Gary Ablett back to Mike Hooper. David Burrows now for Liverpool to Gary Ablett. Ian Wilson. Lovely ball for Michael Harford, but he can't reach it. But Ian Wilson using his football brain there with some good passing. Micklewhite there. Jan Molby. In rush coming off Mark Wright and heading over him to Beardsley. Back in for Rush. This is for Steve Nicol. Good tackle by Steve Cross. Peter Shilton now to clear for Derby County. David Burrows with Micklewhite. Burrows wins. Mel Sage forward for Derby. Mick Harford. And Ablett. Beardsley kept it in. Molby back to Gary Ablett. And back to, in turn, to Mike Hooper. Mike Hooper. A rare excursion for him in the first team this season. That's Mark Wright winning for Derby to Jan Molby. And Wilson clearing for Derby after Mark Wright had beaten Barnes. Gillespie now for Liverpool. Molby. Sage, but he's beaten by Beardsley, and it's Rush to Barnes, to Rush. And a great save by Shilton, but it's there. A great save by Shilton from Rush, but Barnes was there to pick up the pieces. And Liverpool, in the 23rd minute, are back in front. Derby County 1, Liverpool 2. Saunders now for Derby County. Liverpool ripping open Derby down the middle. Mel Sage. Ian Wilson. Steve Cross. Ted McMillan coming back to retrieve the ball, and it's back to Steve Cross. Steve Cross looking for Saunders. He knocks it inside for Harford. Harford surrounded by Liverpool defenders to Saunders. Saunders with a shot. Just over Mike Hooper's bar. Liverpool fans in full voice there. That's Sage for Derby County. Harford chests it down, picked up by Molby, but it's Saunders now. It's driven out wide. Micklewhite in support. And Micklewhite offside. Rather a stupid move there by Derby. Earning what was an obvious offside. But Saunders, unfortunately for Derby, was driven out to the right as that ball came through. Mark Wright now for Derby County. Mel Sage now with John Barnes, who's good in the air. Barnes wins. Beardsley winning a corner off Wright, if it goes, and it does. Corner kick. Quick one by Beardsley to Barnes. Barnes tackling Sage, and Cross, who's come over. Laid back for Mulby. Micklewhite intercepts, but it's only to Steve Nicol. Gillespie's out on the right. Unmarked. Forsyth going over. And it's into touch for a Liverpool throw. Steve Nicol to take it. 25 minutes gone. Score Derby County 1, Liverpool 2. Burrows from a poor kick by Shilton, and it's Sage now finding Harford. He chests it down, he's looking for Min on the left. Saunders against Hussain. Hussain into touch for a Derby throw. Mick Harford with it. Back to Steve Cross. Inside to Geraint Williams. Williams. Saunders back for Williams, but not a good enough pass by Saunders. And Hussain has little difficulty in turning it back to his goalkeeper. That goal for Saunders is 14th in the league for Derby. Is 18th in total for the season. Mel Sage from that pass by Ian Rush. Only finds David Burrows. Inside for Mulby. Forsyth for Derby County. Sage to Williams. Williams to Ian Wilson. Saunders. Williams. So frantic in the middle of the park, and it's Hussain getting the tackle in. Forsyth finds Wilson. Leaves it to right. And it's Dean Saunders. And he shoots straight to the goalkeeper, but Saunders was offside. The linesman on this side of the pitch having a busy time. Mr. Walsh with the yellow trim to his flag. Flagging Saunders offside most of the time that the ball is played up. Mike Cooper. Ian Rush with Mark Wright. Wright wins out. Falls for Mulby. Mulby rides the tackle by Harford. Clumsy though it was. And it's Burrows now. Decided to take on Gary Micklewhite. Micklewhite tackles, but Burrows still has the ball. Into Barnes. Barnes rides the tackle by Sage. And as the ball was running out of play, couldn't, in fact, do any better than hit a half-hit cross. John Barnes playing a bit to the crowd. Sablett knocking it back, and it's Gillespie picking up for the Reds of Liverpool. Gary Ablett. Mike Cooper's kick. Looking for Beardsley. Forsyth beats him in the air. It's Mulby again picking up in the centre circle. Lovely pass out to Barnes in space. Inside to Burrows. Mulby. Back to Burrows. Not a good pass there, but Burrows looking for Beardsley. Oh, Houghton rather. Plays it back to Beardsley. Beardsley. Shot that's deflects off Forsyth and Wilson. And it's Nicol hitting it over and a wide for the goal kick. But Peter Beardsley will shoot from anywhere. That was just one instance. Just saw the gap for a second, but Forsyth closed it down and it flicked off him and on to Ian Wilson before Nicol got in the shot. That's Peter Shilton. John Barnes for Liverpool. Beardsley doesn't control it. It's Geraint Williams for Derby County. Williams looking for Saunders, but it's Ablett. And he finds Micklewhite. Harford. Inside to Ian Wilson. Looking for somebody on the left, it's Steve Cross. Ted McMinn now peeling off to fill in a position. But he's tackled by Gary Gillespie. Throw into Derby County. Steve Cross with it. Hasn't got a lot of options as to where to throw it. Dean Saunders now having to come out of the penalty area, but it goes to Ted McMinn. McMinn back to Mark Wright. Geraint Williams, Liverpool challenging well, and it's Forsyth now to Mel Sage. There's Dean Saunders with Gary Ablett behind him. Turns to face him. Breaks for Micklewhite. Now Mel Sage with a low cross. And it's Nicol getting a foot there. Mark Wright coming to meet it. Saunders up with Ablett. And a free kick to Derby County. Ablett riding on the back of the Welsh international forward, Dean Saunders. So it's a similar position to the free kick we had earlier. So we're on the half-hour mark now. With the score, Derby County 1, Liverpool 2. Williams, Wilson, Saunders, and it's out by Gillespie. Beardsley, Sage back in. Nicol-White trying to find Sage, but it's Barnes clearing. Williams knocking it back, only for Beardsley though. Good tackle by Williams, and it's Sage picking up. Sage, robbed by Beardsley, and a beautiful pass to Nicol. Nicol onside because he was in his own half. Nicol going all the way. Cross comes over, out by Wright, only to Gillespie. And that was a brilliant save by Peter Shilton. And Peter Shilton would have been struggling had he stopped on this line and come out to the edge of his 6-yard box, and that's what gave him the chance there. Good goalkeeping by Peter Shilton. Steve Nicol and Ray Houghton there with the corner. Houghton to cross it. Hussain in there, but he's beaten by Nicol-White. Comes out to Beardsley. Mike Harford for Derby. Ian Wilson in the forward position. Harford beats Mulby, and a beautiful pass to McMinn if he can control it, but he can't. Nicol back to Gillespie. Mike Hooper. Scythe beating Beardsley, but it falls for John Barnes here on the Liverpool left. Nicol-White coming back to help Sage, who gets the tackle in. And Sage beats Burrows, and it's a throw into Liverpool. Barnes back to Burrows. Inside to Mulby. Mulby, Mark Wright out for Derby to Williams, good control on his chest. Looking for Saunders and doesn't give him a chance. Well, I think really he was looking for Ted McMinn and got the pass horribly wrong. It was too strong anyway for Saunders and not in the right channel for Ted McMinn either. Peter Shilton now rolls it out to Steve Cross. Steve Cross downfield for Saunders. Knocks it inside for McMinn. And it's back with his goalkeeper. Just over 10 minutes to half-time. Liverpool still 2-1 ahead. Gillespie beating McMinn. Steve Cross to take the throw for Derby County. Saunders back to Cross. Nicol doing well. Steve Cross wanted it to bounce out, it doesn't. And Ian Rush profits from it. Back to young Mulby. And a pass by Mulby just out of Ian Rush's stride pattern. And Mark Wright picks up. It's now Steve Cross again to Ted McMinn. McMinn inside to Harford. Back to Ian Wilson. Gary Nicol-White. Harford, but he only finds Mulby. Rush beats Ian Wilson. It's Houghton taking up. Houghton out to Barnes. Placed by Mel Sage. Good tackle by Sage. Throwing to Liverpool. David Burrows coming down to take it. John Barnes, good turn against Nicol-White, but Nicol-White's still there. And Houghton now to Burrows. Attacking the line. And Sage gets in another good tackle. It's another Liverpool throw. Liverpool keeping up the pressure. No goal to them before half-time would really give Derby County an even bigger mountain to climb. Sage with the clearance. Saunders, knit inside, a good one. Williams to Wilson. Wilson does well. It's Michael Forsyth now, forsaking defence and going forward. Does well against Mulby. Micklewhite. Williams picks up. Micklewhite saw very fraught and close. It's now Saunders. Saunders treads on the ball. Saunders with the cross, but Hooper no trouble with that one. Bit of panic there about Dean Saunders after he'd trodden on the ball, and it's now Steve Nicol coming away for Liverpool. Ted McMinn coming back to face him, so Nicol cuts inside and a lovely diagonal ball for Beardsley, but it's too high for him, and Barnes wasn't in any mood to chase. So a throw into Derby County. Mel Sage to take it. Gary Micklewhite back to Sage. Ablett down for Burrows. That's back to Ablett. Cross to Gary Gillespie. Out to Steve Nicol. Ian Rush, good control, beautifully brought down by Ian Rush. Peter Beardsley, Nicol going out on the right. Beardsley carrying on. Chip one down, a good chest down by Mel Sage for Peter Shilton to pick up. Burrows for Liverpool. Good instant control there by John Barnes. Through the legs of Mel Sage, but Micklewhite tackling back. It's not gone out yet. Barnes inside to Burrows, doesn't control it. It's Williams to Sage. Ian Wilson does well, but in pushing it past Mulby only finds Gillespie. Out now to Rush. Good touch on to Nicol. Gillespie going outside him. Nicol cuts inside. Nicol with a shot. And it's a good double save there by Shilton from Nicol in the first instance. And then the header by Peter Beardsley. The Derby goalkeeper keeping Derby in the game. A better fortune than with his previous double efforts. Of course, he was beaten by John Barnes the second time. This is Gary Ablett, Peter Beardsley. Beardsley riding the tackle from Forsyth. Forsyth challenging again. And it's Williams now for Derby to Ian Wilson. And Wilson, Ray Houghton trying to close him down. It's Ted McMinn with the ball. Steve Cross going in support behind Ted McMinn. McMinn. Steve Cross is up there now. McMinn uses him. It's Gillespie out, only finds Ian Wilson. Williams, and that's Ian Rush tackling back. Mulby to Beardsley, who's onside. It's Derby's turn to track back now. Beardsley, and a tackle by Forsyth earns Liverpool a corner. 6 minutes plus injury time to the break. 6.5 minutes plus injury time to the break. Back to Burrows. Mulby. Gillespie. Gillespie with a cross for Barnes. Barnes inside, but it's out by Sage. Burrows picks up for Liverpool. And Saunders almost got it. It's a throw into Liverpool. Barnes. Burrows back to Barnes again, who turns to beat Williams, but Williams gets the tackle in. Wilson now for Derby, but he only finds Ablett on the halfway line. Mulby takes over. This is Rush. Mulby takes over from him. Burrows. Barnes. And a foul by Sage. Free kick to John Barnes in Liverpool. David Burrows wants to take a short one, I think, and Phil Don making sure that the Derby players are well away. This is Beardsley. And it's there. Superb goal by Ian Rush. Derby County sucker punch there, and so Derby County's mountain becomes even harder. Ian Rush scoring in the 40th minute of the first half. Derby County 1, Liverpool 3. Mel Sage, Williams, Ablett, and he finds Forsyth for Derby County. Ted McMinn against Gillespie. Good turn by Ted McMinn. Gains Derby some ground down that flank, and a foul there, but not given by Phil Don. Gillespie played the ball according to the Middlesex man, and it's now John Barnes. A lovely pass across to feed him. David Burrows, beautiful pass by Barnes, and it's Burrows now with a cross. Intercepted by Houghton. Nicol back to Houghton, who dummies Geraint Williams. John Barnes, Peter Beardsley. Beardsley inside to Barnes, back to Beardsley. Just a check back. That's the low centre over, but Sage clears for Derby. And that was Ablett. Nick Harford for Derby to Ted McMinn. Saunders trying to step onside. And that's McMinn again. McMinn with a cross, but that's Hussain. Only out to Ian Wilson. Drills it out to Harford. Harford again needs some support. Back to Mel Sage. And that was Gillespie. Cross to Ted McMinn. First time pass, good one. That's Harford, but just wide of the right-hand post of Mike Hooper. Good effort by Mick Harford. And Derby County certainly not given up by any means. They're trying all they can, and they're finding themselves outclassed at the moment. Right to good shot now for Derby County after Hussain had made a mess of that forward ball. Nicol. Steve Cross. Ian Wilson does well. Ted McMinn now for Derby County. Mick Harford. And McMinn is dumped over the touchline. And Mick Harford, I think, had a bit of say against Hussain, who's down. It's a corner kick to Derby, but Hussain requires treatment. There's a foul on Ted McMinn initially, which dumped him over the touchline, but the ball had come forward for Mick Harford and Glenn Hussain, and it was Glenn Hussain who came off second best. But the corner is given, so that when Hussain is fit again, could be Derby County to try and narrow the gap. Good start by Derby in the opening minutes, but then pegged back by that 7th minute penalty by Jan Mulby after Mark Wright had pulled back Ian Rush. Derby equalised from a penalty spot through Dean Saunders in 21st minute, but 2 minutes later Barnes restored the lead. And Hooper just got a hand to it. It's now Micklewhite with the cross. Wilson sliced it. Harford blocked on the line by Houghton, who hacks it clear. Sage now for Derby County. Looking for Harford. Mick Harford inside, and it's out for the corner by Hussain again. Derby County finishing the half strongly. And then, of course, we had that Ian Rush goal a few moments ago, which gave Liverpool a 2-goal lead. Ted McMinn with another corner for Derby. Looking for Mark Wright, for Scythe, but a flag was up. Bit of pushing, I think. The linesman indicating a bit of pushing by Forsyth. So, free kick to Liverpool. And that's Wright to Saunders. Back to Micklewhite. Still too close for Derby, and Mulby intercepts. Now it's Williams. But there's the half-time whistle. Not much extra time there by referee Phil Dunn. Derby County 1, Liverpool 3. Jan Mulby in 7 minutes, John Barnes in 23, and Ian Rush in 40 for Liverpool. And Dean Saunders replies in the 21st minute for Derby County. So there we have it, half-time score, Derby County 1, Liverpool 3. Now Geraint Williams through for Saunders, but the ball just gathering a little bit of pace off the pitch through to Mike Hooper. And that's Mel Sage to Gary Micklewhite. Mick Harford, good control, but it's tackled by Burrows, and it's Ablett forward for Liverpool, but picked up by Mark Wright. And that's Peter Beardsley. Oh, I thought there made a present of it to Peter Shilton. Seemed to take pity on Derby there, but Mark Wright certainly didn't see Peter Beardsley stealing through. But there again, as I say, Liverpool needs some goals to narrow the give them a better chance in case of a tie at the top of the table with Arsenal. Ted McMinn now for Derby. Burrows only finds Williams. Sage looking for Micklewhite, and Barnes blocks, and then Mark Wright into touch for a throw to Liverpool. So that could really have been disaster for Derby County. 4-1 down after 2 minutes of the second half would have really been a complete disaster. Mark Wright, and of course gave away the penalty in the 7th minute of the first half, pulling back Ian Rush. Beardsley now to Barnes, but it's behind him, and it's Geraint Williams picking up for Derby County. Mel Sage, Michael Forsyth. Mel Sage again, but he's tackled by Burrows, and it's Beardsley taking the attack. Barnes streaking through, Barnes, and it's there! It's there, Barnes outpacing the Derby defence, beating Shilton on his near post. Barnes' second goal, coming in the 3rd minute of the second half. The score, Derby County 1, Liverpool 4. The goal coming in the 48th minute. And that is Mel Sage now for Derby County. Gary Ablett into touch. Micklewhite to Sage. Sage across for Saunders, but Hussain's there. Geraint Williams picking up for Derby County, forcing Steve Cross out wide to the Derby left. Inside Steve Nicol for Ian Wilson, but he's tackled by Jan Mulby. Ray Houghton. Back to his goalkeeper, Mike Hooper, who's had a relatively comfortable game. Beardsley again, cuts inside for Scythe with ease. That was meant for David Burrows, but through to Peter Shilton. That was Beardsley, but it's Saunders now for Derby. And Nicol now breaking for Liverpool as Derby lose out in midfield. Ian Rush now. Gillespie up in support. Mark Wright with Ian Rush. Maybe Steve Cross there with a horrible ball to try and clear. Throw to Liverpool. Ian Wilson putting the ball out. Gary Gillespie to take it. Back to Glenn Hussein. As usual, playing with his shirt outside his shorts. John Barnes. Molby. To Burrows. Barnes. Burrows. Molby. Section by Micklewhite. Ian Wilson. Good ball for Ted McMinn. Ted McMinn faced by Glenn Hussein. Looking for support. Gets the cross in. Is Harford. Steve Cross, but Glenn Hussein there beats him to it. A poor pass by Harford to Steve Cross. And all Derby County have is a throw-in. Ted McMinn to take it. Looking for Saunders. Saunders twisting and turning. Comes back to Steve Cross. And he slices that horribly out for a goal kick. An intended centre. Well, Derby County face Liverpool's biggest challengers, Arsenal, next week at the baseball ground. And it'll be another very, very tough match for Derby County, who will be all but sunk by this defeat. Of course, not only by this defeat, the other ones that have preceded it as well. Peter Shilton now for Derby County. Mick Harford up with Glenn Hussein. Jan Molby. And Steve Nicol back to his goalkeeper. Mike Cooper's kick. Forsyth, it's over. Forsyth, Steve Cross. Jan Molby under no pressure. Knocks it forward for Ray Houghton. Ray Houghton, lovely little dancing through Mark Wright's legs, but the situation well read by Peter Shilton. Gary Gillespie to Glenn Hussein. Steve Nicol. And he finds Gary Micklewhite. Dean Saunders in the inside right position. Micklewhite trying the shot. Rebounds off Ablett to Burrows. And possible danger is thwarted there. Ball back with Mike Cooper. Steve Cross for Derby County to Ian Wilson. Good ball for Ted McMinn, but just gathered pace off the pitch again. Into touch. Liverpool throw. Steve Cross beaten by Nicol. Rush definitely inside for Ray Houghton. Ray Houghton has the pace to carry on. And Houghton, and blocked there by Wright. Michael Forsyth forward to Mark Wright. Mark Wright coming forward for Derby County. Gary Micklewhite now with Dean Saunders out on face by Ablett, and then Burrows, and Burrows body checking Dean Saunders. A free kick to Derby County. But every time Liverpool attack, the danger signs are there for Derby County. Gary Micklewhite, I think, requiring a little bit of attention. The Derby bench a little bit slow to come to the aid of for Gary Micklewhite, because Gordon Guthrie is behind the scenes with the substitutes. And it's the Liverpool physio coming on. In fact, Gordon Guthrie now come out and chasing him down the field. So both physios now looking at Gary Micklewhite just for a moment. Liverpool looking to make a substitution soon. In fact, Derby County are going to as well. Ian Wilson is coming off and Trevor Hebbard coming on. And that substitution not greeted with applause, but boos by the Derby County fans. Ian Wilson getting a good hand. He's tried all he can with his passes. This is in the 8th minute of the second half. That's 53. And Steve Staunton is the likely Liverpool substitute now, and Jan Mulby is going off. Jan Mulby is scorer of the first goal. Steve Staunton coming on. May well see David Speedy on before the end of the game, with Liverpool in a comfortable position. Now we're having a double substitution there. Hebbard on for Derby County in place of Ian Wilson. Steve Staunton on, wearing number 14 for Liverpool in place of Jan Mulby. And foul by Harford. Pushing there on Hussain. Free kick to Liverpool. Steve Staunton has gone into midfield with Houghton and Nicol. And Barnes pushing up with Beardsley and Rush up front. Here's Rush, tackled by Wright, but it falls for David Burrows. And good tackle by Micklewhite. Throw into Liverpool, into Houghton, Barnes, Burrows, Steve Staunton with his first touch. Finds John Barnes with a beautiful pass. And Wright almost brings down John Barnes, but Trevor Hebbard gives away a corner. John Barnes to take it, Ray Houghton going over for the short one. It's Liverpool like to play. Mel Sage over there for Derby County with left back Steve Cross. Barnes now on the ball, back to David Burrows. And it's off for Ted McMinn, in fact, for another corner. That's Burrows across, but Micklewhite clears, only finds Staunton. Out to the left to Peter Beardsley. Good pass in for John Barnes. Beautiful ball over to Mel Sage. Barnes now. Back for Nicol. And it's there. Steve Nicol took a wicked deflection, but that's what it's like when you're at the bottom. Nothing goes right. And the 5th goal goes in and will be credited to Steve Nicol. And that is 11 minutes into the second half, 56. Derby County 1, Liverpool 5. And Ted McMahon can only find Peter Shorten there, forced back. Thinking if you don't shoot, you don't score, and that's the maximum which Liverpool have employed. Deflections or not, as long as it goes in the net, that's all that matters. And Derby County on the end of a spanking here at the baseball ground. Geraint Williams. Micklewhite tackled by Barnes, and a beautiful through ball by Beardsley to Rush. Mark Wright forced it out, but Steve Staunton picks up. Derby in all sorts of disarray here, and it's almost a spectacular goal there by David Burrows, but went right across the face and out for a throw into Derby County. But Mark Wright didn't know what to do there with Peter Shilton coming right out of the penalty area and didn't even blast it into touch. Forsyth to Cross. Peter Beardsley, and he finds Gary Micklewhite for Derby County. Micklewhite looking for Saunders. Tries to outpace Ablett. Turns Ablett neatly. But Ablett has the last laugh. And Barnes beating Sage easily. Barnes now. Awesome power this man has. Beautiful ball for Gary Ablett in attack. And looking for Peter Beardsley, but his pass very much awry. But Liverpool, when they're coming forward, almost putting on exhibition stuff here. Mick Harford falling over, and it's Trevor Hibbert spreading the ball to Ted McMinn. McMinn with a cross, Hooper out. No trouble. John Barnes in space. Derby committed to attack. Always liable to leak more goals. Houghton on a run. Comes off Mark Wright, only to Beardsley. Beardsley has another chance. Beardsley. And Beardsley trying to bend one inside Peter Shilton's left-hand post, but just wide. Those sort of goals we know so well from Peter Beardsley, but not that time. Harford fouling at Steve Staunton. Free kick to Liverpool. Harford back to Mel Sage. Sage to Micklewhite. Mel Sage again. All the rebounds coming Liverpool's way. Beardsley has time to come back and retrieve the ball, and he didn't control. Steve Staunton to Gary Ablett. Steve Staunton again. Out to David Burrows. Thrown to Derby, well won by Mel Sage off David Burrows, who didn't like that decision. 90% of the decisions are going Liverpool's way, kind of everything. And Williams dallying there, but back to Mel Sage. This is Mick Harford, chests the ball down. Back for Geraint Williams, chips it forward, but only for Ablett to clear. Staunton to Nicol, back for Gillespie. Gillespie, a good ball for Houghton, but can't quite get to it, and it's Williams picking up for Derby. Williams harried. Ball breaking for Steve Cross. McMinn trying to get Cross in. And a corner kick. One off Steve Staunton. Mick Harford loses a chance. A bad chest down there by the Derby County forward, and the chance was lost, but they do have another corner. We're in the 17th minute of this second half, with Liverpool leading by 5-1. Flat kick by Micklewhite, out by Staunton. Geraint Williams out to Micklewhite again. Hibbert inside him, wearing number 12. There's Trevor Hibbert. Inside to Williams. Hibbert again. Must cross it this time. But a terrible cross by Hibbert. Mike Hooper. No problems whatsoever. So unless Arsenal do win at Norwich, Liverpool will be back on top of the table tonight with this, at the moment, 5-1 scoreline. Barnes now to Houghton. Barnes again. Barnes on the hat-trick, but here comes Nicol. And it's gone. Nicol again. That coming 23 minutes into the second half. I beg your pardon, 18 minutes into the second half. We're not gone that far yet. 63 minutes, and it's 6-1. And this could be the biggest home defeat by Derby County. It will be the biggest home defeat by Derby County since Middlesbrough had a 7-1 win here in 1959. Brian Clough was playing that day and didn't score a goal. It was Alan Peacock who scored 4 goals that day for Middlesbrough. The wingers Day and Holiday scored 2 of the other goals. I think it was Ray Yeomans who scored the other one. Geraint Williams, Saunders, this is Ablett, and they're saying that Liverpool in such control here, as one would expect against the top and bottom. Good play by Liverpool, Staunton. Liverpool playing it simply, one must add. This is football how it should be played. Using the space, letting the ball do the work. And it's a corner kick. Given away by Mark Wright on Steve Staunton. Barnes and Nicola both on hat-tricks. They scored 2 apiece. Mulby a penalty and Rush the other 2. Scorer for Derby County, Dean Saunders. Equalised. Both first 2 goals in the match were both penalties, Ian Mulby and Dean Saunders. There's an offside flag there. My memory serves me right, it's the first time a Liverpool player's been offside. Michael Forsyth, who of course is a Liverpool lad. McMinn, good control, inside to Hebbard. Back to McMinn. Steve Cross in support, but McMinn elects to cross. Micklewhite on. Saunders going in, but straight at Mike Hooper. And this is John Barnes to David Burrows. Steve Staunton, back to Gary Ablett. Ablett now to Staunton. Barnes, quick pass inside for Beardsley, but it's cut out by Mark Wright. Gary Micklewhite for Derby. Micklewhite with the cross, but it's blocked by Burrows, and it's Staunton back to Ablett. He's looking for Beardsley, and it's over Mark Wright. Ian Rush going to cut off the back pass. Wright inside to Forsyth. Now Steve Cross for Derby County. Harford to Saunders. Saunders doing well here. Now winning a corner off Gary Ablett. Ted McMinn to take it. McMinn's kick over to the far post. Mark Wright up there, but so is Gillespie. Williams back in. Out by Burrows. And that's Gillespie. But it falls for Micklewhite. Micklewhite tackled by Beardsley at the expense of a throw-in to Derby County. But Derby lost ground there. Steve Cross over there to take it quickly. Inside to Dean Saunders. Saunders trying all he may, but a lost cause here for Derby. Steve Cross to Gary Micklewhite. Micklewhite with the centre, but straight to Mike Hooper on the edge of his 6-yard box. Good catch by the reserve keeper for Liverpool. John Barnes again. Looking for Burrows overlapping, and Burrows has got the pace to outpace Sage. Good cross, but cut out by Forsyth. Did well there as Ian Rush was in pole position to get his second goal. Peter Shilton now for Derby County. Steve Staunton back for Rush, but it's right there for Derby. Staunton again. Mel Sage, Saunders and Harford. Saunders turns away from John Barnes. Has to beat him again though. That's the check back. Finds Geraint Williams. Cross to Steve Cross. Ted McMinn. Gary Gillespie to face him. Inside for Trevor Hebbard. Hebbard muscled out of it by Staunton. Picked up by Williams. Steve Cross now for Hebbard. Hebbard inside for Saunders. Got his left foot a little bit mixed up and could only fire wide of Hooper's right-hand post. So we're into the 24th minute of this second half. The score: Derby County 1, Liverpool 6. Mark Wright. It's Mike Hooper's ball. No question. Houghton there on Wright's header. Steve Cross going over for Derby. Blocked by Nicol. He scored 2 second-half goals. It is Ted McMinn coming away. Glenn Hussein. Beardsley this time offside. Mark Wright. Dean Saunders flicks on, only for Glenn Hussein to knock it down for Ablett. And it's now Mike Hooper. Wright beats Rush, but it comes off Williams to Rush again. And it's now Nicol. Ian Rush. He's got Gillespie in support. There's Gillespie. Steve Nicol. Ray Houghton. Ray Houghton, chip forward for Forsyth. Hebbard to Micklewhite. Derby breaking out. Williams slips over, and Steve Staunton a good tackle on Hebbard. John Barnes, a good flick on by Barnes, out by Wright. Micklewhite to Williams. Saunders. Micklewhite. Saunders. Williams. Saunders. Derby still trying to play football. All credit to them. Nick Harford out there, but it's Burrows out. Barnes beating Williams, and Barnes coming away. Beardsley, but he's tackled by Forsyth. Forsyth going forward. Out to Ted McMinn. Good play by the Derby central defender. McMinn's cross out by Hussein. Beardsley, beautiful ball to Houghton. Back to Beardsley. Williams intercepts the pass intended for Burrows. It's now Ted McMinn again. McMinn forward for Harford. Good control by Harford. Back to McMinn. McMinn looking to cross the ball or win a corner. Does the latter. McMinn's corner. Swings out. They're trying to score direct there, Ted McMinn. Why not when you're 6-1 down? May as well have a go at anything. Mike Hooper. Mark Wright. And Gary Gillespie. Safely back to Mike Hooper. Sage only finds Nicol there. Rush to Nicol. Comes off Geraint Williams to Trevor Hebbard. First on ball by Hebbard. Only Hussein beating Saunders. Coming off in front of the Derby man. Gillespie. Houghton to Barnes. Control on top of his chest by Barnes. Forsyth into touch. A Liverpool throw. Barnes with the throw. Gillespie going forward. Put clear by Forsyth, and Harford only chests it down for Staunton. And this ball still going Liverpool's way right. Knocks it out, and Staunton this time had fouled the Derby County captain. Free kick to Derby. Shilton now to promote the ball into the Liverpool half. Saunders, Ablett, Williams, Nickel White up with Ablett. Ablett wins. Harford going in, and that's Harford having a dig. And ooze of surprise as there's a Derby shot on goal. Mike Cooper to take the goal kick. Geraint Williams beating Nickel. Back to Steve Cross. Dean Saunders. It's Hussain. Good play by Hussain. Coming up to the half-hour mark in this half, 75 minutes in just a few seconds. And Liverpool in a comfortable position, to say the least, with a 6-1 scoreline. And here they come again. Burrows resisting the tackle of Nickel White, but it's Sage getting a good one in on him. And the ball back to Peter Shilton via Mark Wright and Michael Forsyth. McArthur out to Gary Micklewhite, back to Mel Sage. Dean Saunders now with Gary Ablett, who of course was on loan here some years ago when Derby were in the 3rd division. And certainly had a good apprenticeship and never lets Liverpool down when he's in the first team. He's also alone with Hull City for a spell. Came here with them when Derby County were in the 2nd division, on the way back to the 1st. But of course, looks likely now that Derby County will lose their 1st division status. Glenn Hussain, Mike Cooper, Ablett, Barnes, Staunton. Rush beaten by Wright, and Houghton forward, back for Rush, but Beardsley was offside. Michael Forsyth to Geraint Williams, back to Forsyth. McArthur, but intercepted by Staunton. Staunton going there. Ian Rush onside. Ian Rush. Cross for Steve Nicol. On the deflection of Steve Cross for a corner. That could have been Nichol's hat-trick. Nicol himself going to take the corner kick. Staunton waving like mad for the ball. Nicol and Houghton there. Ray Houghton chips it in for Peter Beardsley. Steve Cross behind him. Back for Houghton. Houghton over to the far post. Gillespie hooks it back. And there's Beardsley, misses it. Beardsley misses it. Both Beardsley and Peter Shilton end up in the back of the net. Good England friends, Peter Beardsley and Peter Shilton, but how that one didn't go in, I just don't know. Peter Shilton's kick. McArthur knocking it inside, only for Gary Ablett though. Cross to David Burrows. Peter Shilton hurrying out, just beats Peter Beardsley. Going across the pitch as ever, Peter Beardsley for that one. Never a lost cause as far as he's concerned. And that's Trevor Hepburn now for Derby County to Steve Cross, to Dean Saunders. The turn against Glenn Hussain, who does well to recover. Throw into Derby. Steve Cross now. Derby County must get the ball into the box if they're to do any damage, of course. That does that. Only got Harford up on the far post, and it's headed out by Burrows. Balls for Mel Sage. Mel Sage. Ted McMinn going in rather clumsily. It'll be a throw into Derby County. Glenn Hussain felt that a little bit. Trevor Hepburn with the throw. Saunders can't get at it. It's Ray Houghton. John Barnes breaks in clear. Barnes now, Rush peeling off to the left, it comes across for Beardsley, lets it run for Steve Staunton. Cuts inside cross. Plays it for Rush, comes off Mark Wright, and Mel Sage coming away with it for Derby. Now looking for his goalkeeper, does well there, Mel Sage. Really got his hands full with John Barnes, of course, and did well to back up the Derby defence on that occasion. Ted McMinn. Ted McMinn can have a shot, but he's well wide. Doesn't get hold of it. Just a flash of the old Ted there. Mark Wright beats Peter Beardsley. Mick Harford above Steve Staunton, but Burrows there to pump it back for Liverpool. Michael Forsyth. Cross to Steve Cross. This is Peter Shilton. Steve Staunton for Derby. For Liverpool, rather. Oh, I wish you... people wish it probably was for Derby. Trevor Ebenell on that pass from Micklewhite. Placed by Ablett. Inside for Micklewhite. Micklewhite with the centre. Here comes Ted McMinn. Good move by Derby. Other days that would have been a spectacular goal, but not today. Steve Nichol, back header to Steve Cross for Derby. Headed back to right, he finds Micklewhite on for Harford. Mel Sage is never going to get there. He's now out of position. It's Gary Ablett for Burrows. Garrett Williams tackling back, as is Trevor Hubbard, but Burrows is still there. Being forced out wide now and brought down by Williams. A free kick to Liverpool. Gary Gillespie going up for this one. Add a bit of height to the Liverpool attack, which hasn't got that many big men in. Micklewhite and Sage being waved back by the linesman and referee. John Barnes and David Burrows with his kick. John Barnes probably favourite to take it. Just so chips it round. And it's out for a goal kick. So certainly any hiccups as a result of Kenny Dalglish's resignation have certainly seemed to have dissipated for Ronnie Moran. Saunders now, and a good save by Hooper. Ted McMinn on the ball now. Going to get the ball back in, he does so. Harford going for it. Barnes got ahead to it. So does Staunton. Ray Houghton and Garrett Williams. Garrett Williams wins out. Ted McMinn. Good play by Ted. Back to Garrett Williams. Must cross it. It's Mick Harford. Chests it down. Mel Sage now. That's a poor cross over everybody for Steve Nichol. Staunton now looking for Ian Rush. There's Michael Forsyth. And Peter Shilton now to get some distance. No, he doesn't. He plays it out, rolls it out for Mark Wright to do just that. It's to Mick Harford, out to Gary Micklewhite. Micklewhite against Barnes. Uses Mel Sage into Williams. Back to Mark Wright. Mark Wright into the box, but it's Ablett out. And he finds Steve Cross. Saunders with a shot which lacked the power to really test Mike Hooper. Mike Hooper with a kick for Ian Rush, but there's Michael Forsyth. Hebard back to Steve Cross. Micklewhite flicks on, only back to David Burrows for Liverpool though. Beardsley in for Barnes, back to Beardsley, in for Houghton, but in comes Forsyth for Derby. Williams does well to ride the tackle by Beardsley. Micklewhite to Harford, he's tackled out of it though, and it's Ray Houghton for Liverpool. Fouled by Forsyth, free kick to Liverpool. Quick one to Beardsley, Barnes is on the left, here goes Rush, but Mark Wright cuts that one out for Derby County. And Trevor Hebard comes away. Ted McMinn stretching his legs to get that one. Gets the centre over, but out by Hussain, promoted on by Houghton to Beardsley. And that time Beardsley fouled Steve Cross. Quick free kick to Williams. Saunders turns, he's tackled by Ablett, and it's Beardsley again. Looking for Rush, who's just stolen offside. Indirect free kick to Derby. 5 minutes plus injury time left. Hussain has a double chance at that one. Forsyth and Williams going for the same ball. Staunton to Beardsley for Liverpool. Rush not offside this time. Back in, but there's Mel Sage. Nick Harford up with Hussain. Hussain riding on the back of Harford. Free kick to Derby County. Micklewhite to Hebard. In for Harford. Mel Sage. Carnival atmosphere at Derby. By both fans. Both sets of fans. Micklewhite brought down by Burrows. A free kick to Derby County. Mark Wright going up for this one. Token gesture by Derby here, but trying to play to the end. That's something in their favour. Grant Williams tried across to Sage. Forsyth getting him out of it. Back to Mel Sage. Picked up by Houghton. There's no offsides at the moment. That's for Peter Beardsley. He's got a lot of space. He's got Houghton up in support. Beardsley with a cross, out by Steve Cross. Gary Gillespie. And Rush straight at Peter Shilton. Nick Harford hasn't got anybody in support. There's Gary Micklewhite now. Ted McMinn. Steve Cross. Micklewhite fouled by Gillespie. Free kick for Derby. For an Alan Hinton or a Bruce Rioch. There aren't many of those sorts of players around these days. Certainly not in the Derby. Dean Saunders certainly going to have another crack to try and add to his goal tally. And it loops over off the wall for a corner. Just over 2 minutes left of this game. Ted McMinn. Micklewhite. Just over the crossbar there as Mark Wright and Gary Gillespie untangle themselves. Goal kick to Liverpool. Well, certainly this game was over as a contest, seemingly by half-time, and certainly the 3 goals that Liverpool added since the break have added to Derby's woe. That's Nicol to Houghton, rush in space. Houghton going on his own, but just push it too far, and Peter shortening out quickly. Nick Harford now chests it down for Geraint Williams, but Staunton was in quickly. Now it's Williams to Nico White to Hebbard. Nick Harford, good footwork there by the big number 9. Steve Cross to Ted McMinn. Steve Nicol tackling back. Steve Cross with the centre, but out by Hussain. Williams back in towards Saunders. That's capably dealt with by a combination of Gillespie and Hussain. Now it's Mike Cooper. Ian Rush beaten by Mark Wright. Williams back for Sage. Sage looking for Saunders, but he's beaten by Hussain. That's Houghton. Nicol. Steve Cross intercepts. Hebbard to Geraint Williams. Going the wrong way, Williams. Let's flick off Hebbard there, but it gives Liverpool good possession. Nicol with a crossfield ball for Rush. He's got John Barnes with him. There's Barnes. Rush coming inside now. Barnes going on the outside of Sage. And there's a corner off Mel Sage. Coming up to full time. Just a bit of injury time to add on by referee Phil Dunn. Not a lot of it. And that was the ball not in the right place on the quadrant there. Beasley to Houghton. Houghton into Barnes. Back here by Barnes, and Houghton's there. And it's there. A beautiful goal right by Ray Houghton, right on the 90th minute. 7-1. Liverpool. And who can deny them? Derby County, a beleaguered, well-beaten side here at the baseball ground. And as I said earlier, that equals the 7-1 thrashing in the second division by Middlesbrough in 1959. Very little time left now. Staunton in there. Ball breaks for Forsyth. McMinn looking for Saunders, but there's Hussain. McMinn, cross. And there it is, full time. Derby County 1, Liverpool 7. Jan Mulvey opened the scoring in the 7th minute from the penalty spot. Dean Saunders equalised from the penalty spot in 21 for Derby. But Liverpool had a half-time lead of 3-1 thanks to goals by Ian Rush in 40, and John Barnes prior to that in 23. John Barnes added his second in 48 minutes. Steve Nicol nicked up with 2 goals in the 56th and 63rd minute to make the score 6-1. And then we had that goal by Ray Houghton in the 90th minute for the 7-1 scoreline. So it's Mike Wilson saying goodbye to you from the baseball ground Derby, with Liverpool sounding out the warning bells to Arsenal with the scoreline Derby County 1, Liverpool 7.